it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Craft, and I'm back in the UK. Hurrah! So, thank you very much for bearing with me whilst I was on my unexpected, I was going to say holiday, but trust me, it wasn't one, unexpected trip to Norway. We were incredibly well looked after by everybody, but I cannot tell you how very, very pleased we are to be back. And back to some semblance of normal. So I have got a 3D project for you today, and I'm using the All Adorned stamp set, which is one of the second release sets from Celebration. Now, we only have less than 2 weeks to make the most of Celebration. So remember, shop, place a large order, or join my team. These are all ways to make amazing savings during Celebration and get some free items. Standard is £45, or every multiple thereof you get a level 1 item. £90 or multiple thereof you get level 2 items or 2 level 1s. Place an order with you and your friends for £200 or more, get an extra £20 of stamping rewards, or join my team and instead of £130 of products, you get £170 of product, plus the option to upgrade to get the craft and carry tote. But the standard £99, instead of getting you £130 of product of your choice, will get you £170 of product until about 10 o'clock in the night on the 31st of March. So please, 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 please do not miss out. Enough said. Right, we're using this stamp set. This is what we are making. It's a little box. It's 2 by 2 in its base, and it's 2 3/4 tall. And I've used the All Adorned stamp set to decorate the side of the box and the lid. And then I've used the reversible ribbon from the Spring Summer catalogue, which is in Coastal Cabana and Granny Apple Green. And I've also used the glitter dots, the glitter enamel dots from the annual catalogue to just give a little bit of adornment in the middle. So having done one in Granny Apple Green, not unsurprisingly, my next one is in Coastal Cabana. You can get a box out of 1 sheet of A4 cardstock, and you should be able to get it out of an 8.5 and 11 by 11 as well. So whether you are in international A4 or US letter size, this should be good for you. The card base is 7.5 inches minus 1/16. So technically it is therefore 7 7/16 of an inch square. And that is so that we get this nice neat fit on our lid. So with your 7 7/16 square piece of card, you score on your Simply Scored at 2 3/4 inches. Rotate and do the same again on all 4 sides. Now, I'm not going across because this is not 7.5 inches square. It is a really weird amount, and it makes it much easier if you rotate your card rather than trying to fiddle with ridiculous measurements. So if you do 2 3/4 on each of your 4 sides, that's good to go. The lid is 3.5 inches square, and we're scoring at 3/4 of an inch. Now you could do 3/4 and then 2 3/4, but with square boxes in particular, as opposed to rectangular, I do like to rotate my card just so that I am absolutely 100% certain that I've got that measurement right, because just in case you cut this not quite at the right point, it makes it almost guarantees you're going to be in the right place. So the next thing to do is to stamp, and I'm using my Stamparatus to help me with this because I want to stamp on the same place each time. So I've got, because this is a photopolymer stamp set, I've got my foam pad underneath Then I've got a piece of laminated grid paper, because I have, for no other reason really. And then a mini grid paper. And then one of the magnets. And then all I need to do is pop that in there. And if I have got this right, which I have, it will line up. You can see the score lines here. We want it in the bottom bit. So all I did was, with the first one, before I inked it up, popped this in the right place, put my lid down and then picked up, and then I know that when I rotate it will be in the right place. Now let's open that up and pop the stamp case underneath, because that's just the right thickness for the Stamparatus lid to sit on it. Then grab my Coastal Cabana, because I'm doing tone on tone. So the previous one was Granny Apple Green on Granny Apple Green. So Coastal Cabana on Coastal Cabana, and ink up and stamp. And there we have our lovely Coastal Cabana stamped image. And then all we need to do is rotate that, and we're going to do the same again. Oh, except I've picked up my piece of paper as well, which I want there. And do this same thing 3 more times. And the joy, of course, with the Stamparatus is if you don't get it perfectly inked up, like here I haven't, you can ink up again and restamp, knowing that you're going to go back into the same place, which is always good to know. It also means that if you only want one stamp block, if you get the Stamparatus, you don't have to worry about all the other blocks, because you can use your Stamparatus for all your stamping needs. And again, I'm just not getting that quite right, am I? So let's concentrate on that corner. That's better. And then last time, and again I've picked up that piece of paper, and I don't want to. Don't know why I don't want to, but I don't want to. So ink up again and stamp, and that's fine. Right, so that's the base. Then I just need to grab my lid, and I want to come in 3/4 of an inch and up to there, I think was where I need to be. Yep. So I lined all this up earlier in the true Blue Peter fashion. Here's one I prepared earlier, and that will be perfect. So just ink it up and be brave, because I'm not using the magnet, and just press that down, and there we go, nicely in the middle. Clean that up later. Now I've got some half stamping chamois that I'm using for my Stamparatus, just to clean up, because it's much easier than using a full chamois, but you can of course use a full chamois. Okay, don't need the magnet, so let's get rid of that before it pings around. So, as ever with boxes, the next thing to do is to burnish on our score lines. Now I'm going to do this in a kind of Catherine wheel fashion, so I'm going to cut the same all the way round on both, and obviously that will become very much more apparent when I do it. Right, so snips from the back. I do prefer doing it from the back because you've got better lumps. Now the question is, can you see? I hope you can. I'm going to snip down the score line is here, so I'm snipping to the, this is the piece I want left. I'm snipping so that this doesn't have any score line on, and then just wedge out both sides and then keep doing the same. So score line is to my right, and then just wedge and keep going round. I'm wearing in a new pair of scissors. It's always quite interesting when you get a new pair of scissors. They're never quite as you expect the previous pair. They do actually become used to you and how you use them, so I would always say don't lend your scissors to anyone else. And also I have these dangly bits on one side, so I always know that when I pick up my scissors, that's down, because again, if you keep twisting over, you kind of upset how your scissors are learning you. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing again, but obviously longer. So we go down the score line, all the way down. Whoops. Probably need to use my longer scissors. All the way down, and I'm going to keep going around, and then I'll trim back and wedge. Now, I'm reasonably good at cutting a straight line with shorter scissors. If you struggle, then you will need a larger pair of scissors, and then you can do it in one go. And the key is to not concentrate on the bit you're cutting, concentrate on where you're aiming, which I know sounds odd, but it's if you visualize where you're aiming for, it just seems to end up that you cut a straighter line. Don't ask me why. It's obviously just one of those quirks of the brain, and I do not understand it. I'm going to go with it, but I was taught that when I was at fashion college, particularly with using a sewing machine. Don't watch the needle go up and down. Watch where you're feeding your fabric, and the same thing works for scissors. So then just wedge and wedge. And again, wedge. So basically we're just getting rid of the score line that we've cut away. So I hope you enjoyed my emergency crafting when I was in Norway. I really wasn't sure what I was grabbing to take, but I seem to manage. I think I would have run out of projects had I had to stay there for much longer, but we got by. So these bits, they're reasonable size. I would keep those as scraps. I wouldn't throw them away. Tear and tape is your friend for this. So turn over, lay down your tape and tear. You can use a straight edge to make that tear straight and clean, but for sake of speed, I'm just going to tear. You could use Tombow, but again, for speed, I would use tear and tape. Do not, I would suggest, use snail, because this is card. Snail's great paper to paper or paper to card. It's not great card to card, which is what this is. So, oh, come on. Now, as ever, having made one, I've learnt from my making of one. So there are some things I am going to do slightly different from the first time around. I always try and remember to burnish down my tear and tape. It just means it sticks better, and it means getting the protective backing off is easier. But this is the point at which I am going to grab my glitter enamel dots, and using the Granny Apple Green, I'm just going to grab a larger one, to go on the top, just for some contrast. And I did actually use the smaller ones for the sides on the previous one, but I don't have... Let's grab a piercing tool. I don't have enough of the really small ones, so I'm going to use the next size up. And in the middle would be good, or pretty close to the middle. But I hope I showed while I was in Norway that with very, very few products, you can do quite a lot. I think we do sometimes think that the only way we can get to do everything is to have everything, and you don't. You have to stretch your brain a bit. But there are all sorts of things you can do without lots and lots of products. So I don't know that I'm going to rush to use the same stamp sets for a while, but that's fine. They were both Celebration stamp sets, so I've only got them for another couple of weeks anyway. Right, so line up your cut, your straight edge against your fold, and just keep going round, again. And then this last one you can just tuck in, and same again, and then just make sure you've got those nicely pressed down. And there is your base, and it's a good 2-inch square base, 2 3/4 up. So it's a good size box. You could put all sorts of things in there. Probably a couple of my Nails Ink nail varnishes would fit in there nicely. Not that I seem to have any to hand to prove. I do need desperately to do my nails again. They are in a dreadful state. It was one of the things that kind of went by the wayside, I'm afraid. And again, straight edge to fold all the way round. Oops. And the last one. And there's our lid, which will fit very nicely and snugly on top of our box. Now if I put that upside down, you can see just how snug that is. It's, you know, a really nice snug fit. Right, so next thing, I want to put ribbon round. Actually, I might as well do it with that on because it's easier. And I'm just going to take my tear and tape and come in a little bit from a corner, because I want the knot to be on a corner, or the bow to be on a corner. And I'm then just going to run my tear and tape round the sides of the lid and get to that point, and again just away from the corner. Oop, tear, and I'll just make sure that's down properly, which it is. And this is why I need to do my nails, because I haven't got a top coat on properly, so I've got a nice smudge, which hopefully I can remove with my lovely mono eraser, because that is going to irritate the bejeebers out of me. There we go, that's better. If anyone wondered why it is that I redo my nails frequently, that is why. I don't like acrylic type nails. I think it weakens the nail, so I don't do it. Right, so I need about 6.5, 7 inches from the end. And then, without actually putting the box down, because we've got sticky tape, pop that with the granny apple green side out, so that it is square in the lid, and keep going round, and there we are. Get to the corner and just tie a bow on the corner. If I'm clever, I can get this to show the right side on all sides, or possibly not. I think this might be one of those ones that I will fiddle with before I take the pictures, but you can get it so that you get the same colour showing on all bits. But inevitably, it's not going to play ball for me, so let's not stress too much about it at this stage. Cut some nice corners, and there we go. So that is my Coastal Cabana box. This is my Granny Apple Green box, and I have actually got that almost right. So there we are, 2 little boxes. As I say, I'm not sure I've got anything that I can witness to put in. Oh, I don't know actually, what's that? It's 1. That'll do as a starter anyway. So Willa, I think we can probably safely say that we could get 2 of those in. I've got some, those would be too big, those are my Molten Brown samples, but I've got smaller ones of those, and too big. they're too tall. But certainly my nails ink would fit in there, but all sorts of things would go in there. Sweets, all sorts. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Do remember that we do, as I say, only have a couple of weeks left of Celebration, not even that. So please don't miss out. When you shop with me, please use the host code if your order is between £20 and £150. If it's £150 or above, then don't use the host code, because you'll get your own stamping rewards. But if you use the host code, you get to share in those stamping rewards that we earn as a group. So that's always good to know. And I do tend to send out product that I think people might enjoy having, wouldn't otherwise have ordered, that sort of thing. But yes, we've had chamois, we've had all sorts of things recently. So, thank you very much indeed for watching. If you don't already subscribe, please, please, please subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, you don't get inundated with emails. There's none of that. You only get an email notification if you ask for it, and that you do on my YouTube channel. If you'd like to subscribe to my newsletter, you can do that over on my website. Close-up pictures of these with the dimensions will be on the associated blog post, which is in the description bar below. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me while I was over in Norway, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!